Thank you. All right.
Amen.
Hits the spot. Okay. Question of the day. We're coming up on Hanukkah, so we got to brush up on our Hanukkah stuff. UV, Thursday night, Gemara class, Hanukkah. We expect to see you there. 7 o'clock p.m.
By the way, when you said in shul, we have to decide who can light the candle
Yeah.
and who can.
Yeah.
So I said who, like pyromaniacs? Like,
Oh, Pyro's been in here. Let's see. Okay, so the question is, Odot minhag shenoagim lahadlik nerot Hanukkah bebet haKnesset. This custom that we have that we light the menorah candles on Hanukkah in Shul. If you didn't know that, we do it. In Shul, we light the Hanukkah candles between Mincha and Arbit. האם המדליק בבית הכנסת יוצא בזה ידי חובת המצווה של הדלקת נרות חנוכה? Does the person who lights in Shul, so the way it works is we call one of the guys, and they say, Kavod, you get to light the candles tonight in the Shul. And he makes the berachot, and he lights the candles. He made all the blessings, and he did the lighting. Is he yotzeh? Has he fulfilled his obligation with the Shul lighting? If you want to say no, just because you lit the candles in Shul, you're not yotzeh. When you go back home and you light again, do you make all the blessings all over again? Even though you just said the blessings a half hour ago. We have a very big rule in our religion. We don't like saying blessings in vain. And so therefore, the question is, this is Yechave daat, book 2 we're in. We are in Siman 77. What do you do, first of all, when you light in Shul with the berachot and Bet Knesset? Did you fulfill your obligation?
yes.
And B, when you get home, if you want to say you didn't fulfill your obligation, do you light with all the blessings all over again when you get home? Okay. So the first thing we want to say is, why do we light in Shul? בתשובת הריבש מבואר שהטעם שמדליקים נרות חנוכה בבית הכנסת. Why do we light menorah in Shul? לפי שאין אנו יכולים לקיים המצווה כתקנת חז"ל להניח נרות חנוכה על פתח הבית בחוץ מפני האומות שאנו נמצאים ביניהם, ואין פסומי ניסה אלא לבני הבית בלבד, לפיכך הנהיגו להדליק בבית הכנסת משום פסומי ניסה. Really, the old mitzvah of lighting Hanukkah candles used to be that you put your menorah outdoors. Because who are we publicizing the miracle for? When we're lighting the candles for Hanukkah, we're publicizing the miracle. It's called Pisumei Nisa, publicizing the nest, the miracle. Who are we trying to talk to and show this miracle of Hanukkah? So it used to be the people outside in the streets. That's our target. We want to show everybody in the streets, look at the candles, Hashem made a miracle for us. However, since the Rivash says, since we lost control of the land of Israel back then, way back, Baruch Hashem, we have it now again. But way back then, the Hashmonaim, they didn't stay in power for a long time. Eventually they lost it, and we lost Israel. And we got into all the nations of the world, and we're second-class citizens in most of the places we've been. And so therefore, we changed Hanukkah. Hanukkah stopped being for the people outside. We brought the menorahs inside the house, and now it's for publicizing to the people inside the house. And so since the Rivash says, since we stopped lighting outside of our houses, we should light in the Bet Knesset, that's the outside. That's publicizing for the people outside. So it's for Pisumei Nisa. It's just to publicize the miracle of Hanukkah. It's such an important custom to publicize the miracle. You should make the berachot in Shul. Even though it's not in the house, make the blessings. You are not, sorry, it didn't even last one. You are not fulfilling your obligation if you light in the Shul, which means even if they say, Kavod Moshe, light the candles for us, and he makes all the blessings, he's not Yotzeh. He has to go back home and do it all over again. Because the blessings for Hanukkah these days are for inside the house. That's source number one. Source number two. Since now we know that you're not Yotzeh, you didn't fulfill your obligation by doing this. The guy who blessed, it seems that he should make all the blessings all over again in his house. On the first night of Hanukkah, that's 3 blessings. And Halik. So 3 blessings the first night and 2 blessings every other night. Why should he bless again in his house? Because there's people in his house that he's going to include them. Just like if you do kiddush, you go home, you do kiddush again for your wife and for your kids. Havdalah, same thing. Okay. From the words of the Rambam, Rambam holds, Maimonides holds, that Shehiyanu blessing is not like Kiddush. Shehiyanu is not like Havdalah. Shehiyanu you can't say for someone else. The rest of the blessings you could, but Shehiyanu you can't if you already did the mitzvah yourself. However, Mikol Makom, כאן שעדיין לא קיים המצווה כהלכתה, חוזר וברך שהחיינו גם בביתו. However, even according to the Rambam, you didn't do it yet. The shechianu you made in Shul was not the real shechianu. It's just for the Shul. It's not the real shechianu that we need. And even he would agree to say shechianu again in the house. Ve'od, further, Shemaran Bet Yosef katav adver Rambam she'ena min haken. The Marash Haruf argues on this Rambam, and he holds that you can say shechianu for another person. We do it every year. When I read Megillat Esther on Purim, I read it for the men, and I read it again for the ladies. The first night, if it's the nighttime, say shechianu for them, right? If someone didn't, you can. We hold halakha l'maaseh. We hold that you can say shechianu for another person. So we don't even hold like this Rambam. Okay, ulam. Here's the question: Bahur ravat, a single young man, or in this case, it would be also a single elderly man. Let's say a single person, a person that lives by himself or herself. Shedar b'dira b'fnei asmo, who lives alone. Ve'eno samuch al shulchan horav, and is not supported by his father. If he's a young boy, if he is supported from his father, if his father pays all his bills, and then he's considered under his father's roof, then he's covered by his father's letter, even though he's in a different house, in school or in the army or whatever. If he's still supported, he's considered a child, like the insurance. So your father pays your insurance. Even if you're in school, you're under the father's umbrella still. If the father is supporting you across the board, you're not self-sufficient. You're considered a child according to halakha, and you don't light for yourself with the beracha according to Sfaradim. So this type of a person who's not supported by someone else, a person who's independent, we're talking about. So you have a 22-year-old young man who lives on his own, pays rent, self-sufficient, or you have a 72-year-old man who, let's say, lost his wife, and he's living all alone. Or you have an 82-year-old woman who's living all alone. She lost her husband. Someone who lives alone and is self-sufficient.
There you said that's the
So that's the question. Yesh ladun. The question is, if they were chosen to bless in the shul, if someone said, you, kavod, and you happen to pick this guy, this 25-year-old guy who lives alone, and he did it in the shul, the question is, can he go home to an empty house and light again and say the same blessings all over again? He's not doing it for anybody.
He can be a symbol by to anybody.
This is the question. Now, we learned in the halakha, in the Gemara class on Thursday night, we just learned it, that a single person living alone can make the blessings as long as it's in the Zman. Remember we said this?
Yeah.
And so if he comes home within the Zman, he's allowed to make the blessing. The question is, he just did it, and there's no one else at home. Should he do the blessings all over again?
Should he or could he?
Could he? Good one. Could he? It's an attorney question. In the Zera Emet it says, he's pasak, he rules. The Zera Emet says, when this guy goes home on the first night of Hanukkah, he was chosen to light in the shul. When he goes home, he shouldn't say Shehiyanu again. Only the other two blessings, Sha'asa Nisim and La'alik. The Shehiyanu of shul took care of his Shehiyanu.
If he said it himself.
If he was chosen to do it in shul, which means he's making the blessings. He shouldn't repeat Shehiyanu. He already made Shehiyanu in shul. The rabbis say, Zeman omro afil b'shuk. Shehiyanu, whenever we say Shehiyanu, you can say it even in the marketplace, even in the street, you say Shehiyanu. It's not tied. On Sukkot, we say Shehiyanu in the Kiddush. You can say Shehiyanu right on the way home from shul, and you're yotzei with the Shehiyanu. It's on the holiday, Shehiyanu.
So who said this?
The Zera Emet.
So he doesn't hold like the daat that we did.
earlier that says that when you do it in shul, it's not exactly doing it.
He holds that. No, he agrees it's not a lighting. But he's saying who said Shechianu is a tied to the lighting. That's what he's saying.
Oh, he said it could be any place. It
Yeah.
could be,
He
exactly.
agrees the lighting's not a lighting.
Okay.
The question is the Shechianu blessing. The Afapi. The only reason he made Shechianu in Shul was for the publicity of the lighting. In other words, if he wasn't chosen to be the lighter, he never would make Shechianu in Shul. It's like it's a stunt. It's a publicity stunt we do.
But he still said it.
Still, soft, Mimela Gam Hu Yotzei Dech Mabat Shechianu. According to the Zera Emet, he fulfilled his obligation of Shechianu on the first night of Hanukkah. He goes home and only makes 2 blessings. Like what Maran Shulchan Aruch says, there's an interesting halakha which I think you should know. If you don't know already, I must have covered this in a halakha you meet over the past few years. Let's see. מי שקראו לעלות ספר תורה בטרם תספיק לברך ברכת התורה שחרית, אף על פי שברכת אשר בחרבנו שבירך על קריאת התורה אינה אלא משום תקנת חכמים לכבוד הציבור, מכל מקום יצא ידי חובה בברכה זו ואינו חוזר לברך אותו פעם שנית. This is a halakha that everyone should know. If you forget or didn't have a chance to say the morning blessings, Bechot HaShahar, and you went on to do prayer, and then you remembered after Shachrit, there might be someone in this room right now who said, I didn't say Bechot HaShahar. I forgot. You don't get to say all the blessings after Shachrit. You lost some of them. Which one did you lose? You lost Elohai Netzor. You can't say Elohai Netzor, not Elohai Netzor. Elohai Neshama Shinatata Bi Teorah. You can't say that because you already said the Becha and Techiyat HaMetim and the Amidah cover the same topic. And you can't say any of the Bechot Torah, the blessings in the Torah. Why? Because Ahavat Olam Ahavtanu cover that. Right? Cover the blessings of the Torah. So if you forget, but you can say the other blessings. You should say the Bechot HaShahar when you remember the other blessings. Another halakha. If you walk into Shul and they say, Kavod, Shilishi, you didn't pray it. You're allowed to go to the Torah. You just mean Asher B'Haranu Kol Ha'amim. That's one of the morning blessings. So the halakha is, now you lost that blessing also. Yeah, but I didn't say it for the... No, you said it. Right? So even though we say the Berachat on the Torah just for Kavod Tzibur, it still counts. And so he's making correlation. Even though the Shechianu he made in Shul for the lighting was just for the Tzibur, I wouldn't have said Shechianu unless I was called.
It's still Mutzi.
It's still, you lost it. Okay. נראה מדברי הרבה על זרע האמת, we see from the זרע האמת, שיש חילוק בין ברכת שהחיינו לברכת שעשה ניסים. There's a difference between שהחיינו blessing, which you lose, and שעשה ניסים לאבותינו, that you don't lose. You get to repeat that blessing. שברכת שהחיינו נתקנה, how do you pronounce that? Was instituted. על הזמן, נתקנה? It was instituted al hazeman, on the time, on the holiday, beli kol kesher lemitzvat halakat nerot Hanukkah. The blessing of Shechianu was not tied to the lighting, like I said. V'lachen in lo lahazor aleha keshemadlik bebeto. Don't say the Shechianu when you get home, unless there are people home also. If you have a wife at home, she didn't hear Shechianu, yes, you get to say it again for her. But if you come home and there's nobody home, you lost it. Okay. The other blessing we say on the menorah, that you did miracles for us, that's a lighting blessing. You only say that blessing when you light. Or there's another halakha, I'm not sure if everyone here knows it. If someone, God forbid, is homeless, they have no home, and they have no father lighting for them, and they have no menorah. They right?
Say when they see
yeah, when they look in someone's window and they see it, someone else's menorah, just press the button, Esther. It'll stop the rain.
Yeah, it's already red.
Press the button on the bottom one. Yeah. So so if God forbid someone's homeless and they have no menorah at all, and they're walking by and say, "Oh, look at the pretty menorah in this guy's window." They can make the blessing
on it.
On someone else's menorah if they have nothing themselves. Not Lehavi. He who made miracles for us. And so that also, so that's not tied to the blessing. That's not tied to the lighting. It is a lighting blessing though. Okay.
And can you use that? Let's say you're traveling. It happened to us. We went to London.
Yeah.
And we were there for the rabbi's son's wedding. It happened to be Hanukkah. We couldn't light in the hotel. we ended up lighting in the synagogue, but we saw plenty of menorot outside.
If you light in the synagogue, you said that blessing.
Right. But we saw a lot of menorot in
you make
in the shul.
שעשה ניסים with the ברכה, with Hashem's name. ברוך אתה השם שעשה ניסים לאבותינו בימים ההם הזמן הזה. Yeah.
So okay.
It's a blessing that you make when you light or when you see to be yotzeh with somebody. Go back to Italy or whatever you were. Okay, next. Ulam. However, so where are we as of this moment? If a single person or an elderly person, someone who lives alone and is self-sufficient, lights in the shul and does the blessing in the shul, they lose shehiyanu. They can't say shehiyanu back at home. They lose that blessing. We have a me'iri. The me'iri says as follows: Ulam ha-me'iri katav b'zu lashon. Mi she'en lo lehadik. Someone who has no chance to light, like you, in that time. Ve'en lo b'mkom she'efshar lo lid'ot. And you can't even see any candles anywhere. You're in a country, there's no Jews. Yesh omrim shemevarech le'atzmo she'asa nisim she'ehiyanu b'layla harishon. Some people say, just say the blessings on the holiday. Forget about the lighting. Just say them on the holiday. And every subsequent night, you don't say Shehiyanu for 8 nights, but you say Sha'asanisim every single night. Meiri says these make sense. This opinion makes sense. Adkan. Mivu'an midbarav. We learn from the Meiri's words. Just like Shehiyanu is a blessing on the holiday itself, not on the lighting. And if you made it in shul, you checked it off. Same thing for the Sha'asanisim Labotenu. You also check that off. How could you go home and make that blessing again on the lighting if there's no one home? Well, according to this me'iri, יוצא שזה שבירך שעשה ניסים על הנקת נרות חנוכה של בית הכנסת, יצא ידי חובה ברכה זו, ולא יחזור לברך אותה שנית כשמדליק בבית טהור, ולא יברך אלא ברכת להדליק נר חנוכה בלבד. Me'iri holds, if you are the one chosen to light in shul, and you live alone at home, when you get home, and you made the blessings in shul, not you attended in shul and watched someone else make the blessings. You were chosen. The rabbi said, Yuvi, kavod. You were chosen. You made the blessings. When you get home, you lose shehiyanu, and you lose sha'asanisim lavoten. You only make lehadlik ner Hanukkah. Finished. You're yotzeh, because the Me'iri holds both of those. You lose.
So interesting, because here, I don't know, customs in other places, it seems like everybody does the blessings together. You know, you just sing it all together. So
I'm not sure that's the right thing to do either. It's probably wasting Hashem's name. We usually pick one person. So that's why when I put
when you do the Ashkenazi tune, it's everybody.
In the Ashkenazi tune, everyone chimes along.
Everybody just.
In Ashkenazi shuls, do they do that? I doubt it. I don't know.
Singing along.
The one person should do it.
Right. Makes sense.
When I put the chat out about this shiur, what did I write? Who is the preferred person to choose in shul to light?
Right.
What does it come out from here? If you would choose the person who lives all alone to make the blessings in shul, he has to know when he goes home, he's losing 2 blessings. Maybe he wants to go home and light on his own, or her, on his own menorah, all the blessings.
Right.
So maybe you shouldn't choose that person to light in shul. Understand? Okay, let's wrap it up. ואומנם, אף לעניין ברכת שהחיינו אין הדברים ברורים כל כך, שמה שתפס בפשיטות הגאון בעל זרע האמת, הגאון בעל זרע האמת, שם חז"ל זמן אמרו לפעמים בשוק, שגם לחנוכה, I'm going to skip ahead. ועל כל פנים, let's skip to the end. ועל כל פנים, the bottom line. לעניין הלכה בוודאי, for the halachic ruling, for sure, שיש לחוש לסברת המאירי. You got to be careful for what the me'iri holds. The me'iri holds that shehiyanu and sha'asa nisim, you say them anywhere, you're yotzeh with those. Even without candles.
So he literally ties it to the holiday.
Yeah, only because safek al chol hakel. With safek, we don't like saying extra blessings. According to the me'iri, you can't say another blessing. We're gonna err on the side of caution and not say another blessing.
Yeah, because if Sha'asav would be tied to the Nerot,
then you
would think, not only that, you would think every time a person sees a Nerot, it's kind of like when you in India, there is a...
No, I have the beracha, I make a matzah. Not every time I eat matzah.
No, but you left the place, you went to another place. You
don't see halakha ma'aseh again. You're yotzei ready for the day. But what we are afraid of is if the me'ir is correct, and you can say shechianu, if you randomly say shechianu, shasanisim, you're yotzei, you fulfilled your obligation, then you shouldn't do it again at home unless you have people at home.
And you're doing it for them.
Right? And so this is tying into the class we just had Thursday. The class we had Thursday, we said, if you have people at home, you're lighting for the people at home. You're kosher. You can do it all over again. And we also said, if you come home late from work, let's say, for example, it's 10 o'clock at night, no one lit, and you want to light the candles, and everyone is sleeping at home, you have to wake someone up. If you want to make the blessing. If you don't want, if your wife's going to kill you if you wake her up, then make the light without the blessings. Because it's late at night, and who are you blessing for? Who are you lighting for? And that's the halakha l'ma'aseh. Obviously, this is all talking about someone who's self-sufficient and supports himself or herself financially. Someone who is with the family. If you light in shul and you have a family at home, go home, light all over again, all the blessings for your family. So you can fulfill everyone. This was book 2, Siman 77, I think. And that's the halakha for today. And so who do we choose in shul to light? If it was up to me, I would say, check with the single guy or the elderly guy who lives alone and say, do you want this to be your lighting, or do you want to go home and do all the blessings on your menorah? If you want to do all the blessings on your menorah, let's have someone else light in shul for the shul candles.
Interesting.
You know, something that you just said about last week.